In case the government asks FEMA for help, the government will be ready there with the military, we're told.
The acting head of the CDC said he fully expects deaths from this infection.
We are closely monitoring the emerging cases of swine flu in the United States.
Prepare, don't panic.
They say the best way to prepare is to have your family vaccinated.
The vaccine appears to be safe. The Obama administration is considering implementing a new fall vaccination program against the flu.
Composed of mercury, and it's been proven to cause not only Guillain-Barré syndrome, but also autism.
President Obama has now declared the H1N1 virus to be a national emergency.
The White House says the president signed this proclamation last night. It will allow medical officials to bypass certain federal requirements.
I believe that the threat of martial law and FEMA camps is a real threat. I believe that our administration and the prior administration has been setting this country, staging the country to pave the way to martial law by creating pandemic scares or whatever it is to induce this hysteria.
The World Health Organization is holding emergency meetings and may declare a worldwide pandemic. At that level, trade could be restricted, sports events and concerts could be canceled, and borders could be closed.
They can show up at your house and say, this is a quarantine area and you have to leave. If you say, no, I don't want to, then you're subject to arrest and deportation to a detention center, where then they'll say you need to be inoculated. If you say, I don't want to be, you can be forcibly inoculated, just like under the Freedom Commission, they're talking about education. And it's quickly getting to the point to where if you choose not to inoculate your children, they can have legal sanctions against you. The basic problem here is that this is just makes a mockery of freedom.
Today in New Orleans, they got a lot tougher on the holdouts.
Police department, everyone home!
Not only the flooded areas, but New Orleans' driest and wealthiest neighborhoods too.
Police department!
The police and National Guard going street by street, house to house.
We need to make sure too that whenever we knock on doors, people refuse to leave, we need to make note.
Entering open houses with guns drawn and instructions to disarm anyone inside. Residents were handcuffed on the ground.
They were a little bit threatened because our weapons were bigger than their weapons.
For many of the police and guard troops, it is an uncomfortable job to do this in an American city.
Well, I don't want you in here. I don't want you in here, period.
But there's a mandatory evacuation.
I know all about it. All of a sudden.
Patricia Coney's protests were to no avail. They moved her out of there.
Massachusetts proposing legislation that would allow police to forcefully quarantine residents and even impose martial law without a warrant.
In Massachusetts, both houses of the legislature have enacted this law, and once Governor Deval Patrick signs it, and he says that he will, it'll become the law, and it will allow him to declare an emergency. And once he declares an emergency, he can authorize non-healthcare licensed personnel, read that to mean police, to vaccinate people against their will. Now, can they force adults to take vaccination? No. They will incarcerate adults without a trial, without charges, without even a search warrant, who refuse to be vaccinated. This is what the statute authorizes. It also authorizes the statute also authorizes the police to remove children from adults, vaccinate them against the will of the child and the will of the parent.
All right, guys. Armed Ghost 1984 here with you on Monday, June the 29th. I'm cruising down the road, and lo and behold, what did I come across?
Under a program sponsored by the Department of Homeland Security, police officers were trained to go door to door, removing people from their homes with deadly force if necessary, escorting the people to school buses, and being delivered to a decontamination area, usually at a school or local church, where the subjects will be hosed down, scrubbed down, given a series of vaccinations, and held prisoner until they can be transferred to a more secure facility. The Department of Homeland Security has these programs embedded in the policing communities across the United States, just waiting for orders to be given.
Well, interesting, what else the vaccination could do is they could chip you. They could put in that vaccination, they have chips so small that they can go inside those vaccinations. That could be another thing they could be doing, is saying, oh, we want to give you this N1, H1 vaccination to save you from some disease, but really they're doing is they're chipping you without you knowing it.
It's not a stretch of the imagination. In fact, it's already beginning to happen where people are being given RFID chips so that we can, scan you. Now, they always try to present a good reason for doing that. Well, we'll have your entire medical history. If you fall down unconscious, the doctors will know who you are, what drugs you're allergic to. They'll be able to treat you more efficiently because they have all this information. Well, the opposite is also true. If the government has all this information on you, they can also manipulate you by the use of that information. You won't be allowed to get a job. You won't be allowed to buy food. You won't be allowed to, perform any economic transactions unless you have the government RFID chip and are approved. This is one of the things that people have been worried about for a long time. The technology now exists.
When the World Health Organization declares a level 6 pandemic, then all of the other mechanisms engage at these, national, state, and local level. There are plans through the World Health Organization at the local level that require level 6 before some of the more draconian methods can be implemented.
Calves are the source of smallpox vaccine. Cattle are subject to a weakened form of smallpox called cowpox. Large quantities of vaccine are produced by infecting healthy calves like this one with live cowpox virus. The virus multiplies rapidly, and by the 5th day, crusts have formed on the skin wherever the calf was infected. These crusts are collected. They contain the live germs which will serve as vaccine for human beings. Glycerin is added as a preservative and to provide a vaccine in fluid form. From this mixture, individual doses of the vaccine are prepared. The vaccine may be supplied in a capillary tube like this and applied directly to the skin from the tube.
Your name is Tom. You live just off of 5th Street. Nice car, Tom. Nice house. What's not so nice is you owe Pennsylvania $4,212 in back taxes. Listen, Tom, we can make this easy. Pay online by June 18th, and we'll skip your penalty and take half off your interest. Because, Tom, we do know who you are.